Okay, so welcome to another episode of VIVA. I'm Bonnie.
And I'm Cassianne.
And today we will be talking about love and relationships here in Berlin.
Mm-hmm. Fun times.
Yes.
Fun times. Mm.
So do you want to...
Should I take this one?
I mean, okay, let's, yeah.
Should I start with this
tell
one?
us about your your 5-year relationship history here in Berlin.
Okay, so when I moved to Berlin, when I moved to Germany, I was playing basketball here initially in Heidelberg, and then I met this guy online, and we hit it off. Yeah, we met online, we hit it off, and I didn't want to play basketball anymore, so I decided to move over to Berlin.
He was in Berlin.
He was in Berlin, yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
he was a Berliner, and I traveled back and forth for a while. And the relationship, it was nice, you know. I mean, it was at the beginning, and then like he knew what he was getting himself into because I told him that I had a kid and everything like this. And then just like a year, like literally a year on the dot of the relationship, he was just like, yeah, this is not what I want, kind of thing.
Really?
And I feel like
after you had already moved.
Yes, exactly, yes. But I didn't move. Yeah. So we were living in Lichtenberg together, but I didn't move to Berlin for him per se. It was more of like, okay, I realized that it was a city that could give me the things that I needed at the time, and also it would have been more stability for me and my daughter. So I just decided to have both of us like move here, and it would be better.
Yeah.
So I did, and yeah, he just couldn't. I guess. I mean, it's fair enough. You know, he didn't want to be in a relationship, and it is what it is, and no harm, no foul, because my time wasn't really wasted like that. Sure. So I was like, you know what, you made a decision, and that was that. Yeah. But then I was single for a year before my now partner, and dating around and I used Tinder maybe twice or once, and it was the worst experience like ever.
So many people say they have.
Oh my god!
Some people find their bays on like,
Tinder.
Yeah, I don't know how.
No.
Like,
I had some creepers on there, man. Well, I met this guy like, we met up at this burger place in Kreuzberg.
Like,
oh god, girl! I deleted it like after a few dates. I was like, no, I'm done.
Online dating or using Tinder.
I'm done. I was like, I'm done with it, and we met up and. He like how he came to the date, it was just very odd and weird. It was maybe he was on drugs or something, I don't know. And then like he like picked out of my food and was like, I'm a drug dealer. Girl, wow. What a friggin' mess. And then I realized like in Berlin, like people are like lost, like they're lost souls, it feels like for me. Like they just don't know what to do with their lives. They don't know what they want to do with their careers. Right. They don't know what they want to do. Right. And when you go on dates with these guys, they're just like, oh, so what is your plan? They're in their 40s and shit. What is your plan for, you know, the next 5 years? Oh, I'm just taking things day by day. Like what? Yeah. What?
I'm figuring it out.
I'm figuring it out. What? Girl. No.
Oh wow! Yeah. So I really like the story you told me before of when you met your partner now.
David.
Yeah, I think it's so cute. Like, yeah.
Oh, should I tell it?
Yeah, I think you should tell it.
Should I?
But it's so cute. I think
it's
so cute though, because now it's been 2 years. Over 2 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah, we've been together 2.5 years. So almost 3 years. And how we met, like it was so funny. Because both of us, I think at this point had just kind of decided that we weren't going to date anymore. And like the Saturday, so it was December 2017.
Okay.
And there was a Saturday, so it was around Christmas time, and the Saturday night I went out to the club and I met this guy. He's from Trinidad.
Yeah.
And he was tall and like handsome, and I was like, oh yes, this is my man. And the week prior to this, actually, I started writing down like manifestation and like writing a list of things that I want in a partner and that I desired in a partner. Yeah. And so when I met Trinidad guy, I was like, ooh, we from the Caribbean, we match, woo woo. And you know, we had our little fun times. We kissed in the club and we were grinding on each other and everything. And And then I gave him my number and I never heard from him again.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
But then that Monday, which was Christmas Day, so that Monday the 25th, 2017, I went out. I was like, I'm here by myself because Aria was actually back home with her dad and family and other family. And I was here in Berlin by myself. So I was like, okay, let me just go out and have some fun, enjoy myself and whatever else. So I decided that I was gonna go to this club again, the same club actually, and I went and it was like full of white people. It was literally just white people everywhere, and I was like, oh fuck. But I stayed anyway, and I was just like in the corner chilling, smoking my joint, you know, just vibing to this freaking house music and just like whatever. And then like it came to around like 2:30 or so. And these three guys walk in, and they were all black, obviously. And this is why I noticed them, because they were all black, everything.
Rare.
Never.
Oh my god.
And then they came into the club, and I was like, oh, black people. And then it's so funny because my partner's friend. Now, like knowing him now, like he doesn't talk to people when we go places, right? But this night he decided to come over to me for some reason, and he was talking to me. He's like, "Oh, where you from?" It's like I'm from Jamaica. He's like, "Oh, Jamaica!" And then we were kind of like vibing, and I gave him the joint, and then they passed it to the other guy that was there, and then they tried to pass it to my partner, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then I was like, okay, maybe, like, at the time I was thinking, like, oh, maybe he's just not really, like, you know, into just the vibe like that. And then, like, some good music started to play, and he kept, like, moving away from me. So I was like, okay, does he not, like, you know, find me interesting? Because I found him interesting, but it was just, like, he was kind of moving away and going to, like, next to the white girls and stuff. And I was like, is he one of these black guys? Yeah, that date only white girls.
Oh, okay.
And then some song came on, and somehow we started talking. And this song came on, and it sounded like they said Batija in the song, and Batija is like in Jamaica like ass cheek. And so I told him what it meant, and he busted out laughing, and I saw him smile, and I was like, holy hell, like his smile was it for me. I was like, I am getting this guy. If he only dates white girls, too bad for them, because he's mine now. He's mine now. And then we exchanged numbers, like we were leaving. His friend was like, yeah, you cool, give David your number, we'll talk. So I was like, yeah, cool. And then they wanted to go to another club, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going home. And then he actually said the same thing. So we both like went our separate ways, and we were talking for a little bit on the train ride home. But again, I never thought anything of it because the guy that I had met on the Saturday didn't call me. So I was like, they ain't gonna call me. So literally exactly. So that same morning. So like maybe around midday, he messaged me, he's like, hey, it's David from the club. We're going to another party tonight. Do you want to come? And I was like, no, because I was like, I'm exhausted and I'm not a party girl. Like, no, but if you want, we can meet up for something quiet tomorrow, so we can do like a coffee or whatever, hang out or whatever. And he's like, yeah, sounds nice. So the next day comes, and again, I still never thought that he would call me back or say anything or whatever. The next day comes, and he's like, hey, let's hang out, but can we push it back an hour because I'm really exhausted from last night. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we ended up going to this coffee date. We stayed 4 hours there. And I was like, listen, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't want it to end. Do you want to go to a movie? So I was like talking for 4 hours and then like watching a movie for like, 2 hours or whatever. And then we left the movie and we were like laughing. We were cracking up laughing because we watched Jumanji. This is when the first one came out with Kevin Hart and The Rock. And this is when the first one came out. We were like cracking up laughing. And then we left, and then both of us kind of looked at each other like we don't want this night to end. So I went to his place, and like I met his roommate. We smoked a joint. We were just chilling. And from that one date, we spent 3 days together, like locked away, like no phones, nothing, just 3 whole days, like spending together. And it's so funny because like a year later or so, his friends were talking to me, and they were like, Cassianne, you know when you met David, like he disappeared for 3 days, and we were like, where the fuck is he? Where has he been? Da, da, da. And when he's like, when he finally came back to us and was like, you know, we were in rehearsal and he was glowing. He's like, oh my God, I met this girl and she's amazing. And I was like, aww. Yeah. So that's the story of us. I mean, it's not all bad in Berlin, you know. But
see, I mean, you're just like, you started off like, oh my God, dating is so terrible here.
It is. I hate dating though.
I mean, I hate dating, I think, in general.
Yeah.
Now, in Berlin, just kind of makes it just exacerbates that. Like, it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, well, no, I just really like that story. One, because I love.
Yeah, same. It's the Cancerian thing.
It is.
We love it.
I really do. Like, right? Like, I feel like I've come off as like very hard on the outside, whatever, but inside I'm just like, oh, I love. I think it's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, I love like hearing these stories about people, and like I think it's so cute. It hasn't happened to me, but
it will. How has your
Berlin.
experience been in Berlin, like the dating scene? And
I mean, it's been trash. It's been
exactly.
As you know, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of moved here. I mean, I moved here more or less because I was in a entanglement.
Entanglement with you.
Right. I was in an entanglement. Back in Asia, and then the guy was German, and he was like, oh, you should come to Berlin. So I was like, fuck it, okay, why not?
Yeah.
So then I ended up coming to Berlin. Did end up working out for like a ton of reasons, but I guess I began, I mean, like, you know, obviously rebounding, but in my head, I didn't justify it as rebounding. I just kind of was like, all right, like, this relationship is kind of dying, and so I'm maybe ready for something else anyway. And I'm the type of person where, I don't know, I feel like if we're not talking, if I'm not fucking with you, then I'm blocking you. Like, I don't know, like, we don't need to be in contact. Like, we don't need to see what's happening in each other's lives. I'm not like a small talk, hey, how's it going? Type person. So like, that's it. You know? And so it was really hard for me, I remember at the time, to like block him because we were like really, really good friends before. And it's like, I don't know, like, you date somebody that's a good friend, and then it doesn't work out, you lose a friend, you lose a partner, and that sucks. So I was in that space, and I feel like in Berlin, like, it's very easy to meet people. I think even without apps. But the quality. Horrible.
It's literally like finding a freaking needle in a haystack. And I think it's like the moment that you give up is the moment that you find the person that you are supposed to be with, or they find you. And again, it's this about this like manifesting thing.
I need to. So many friends also like have been like, before I met my partner, you know, I made a list of qualities.
The manifesting, man. Trust me,
and like,
it helps.
I feel like I need to do that because I've just been like swimming through the gutter. Like, I just don't understand. Like, No, sorry. No, I was gonna say. I think also when you write it down, you can. It's like you visualize it, right? So you see the type of person that you really want, and then when you start dating. Do you mean like physical?
Not physical. Well, yeah, you can write down physical traits as well if you want them to be tall and whatever else, muscular, dark, whatever. Yeah, write down physical features as well. For me, I didn't really care about the physical features, but when you write it down, you get to kind of see, you know, what you want really in someone, in a partner, and then when you're dating, you start the quicker you are to pick out the red flags, and the quicker you are to go, no, this is not for me. And I found that really, really helpful when I did do the manifestation list and so on. Like, I could immediately go, no. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a no for me. True. And you can, and when you see that physically, like, you know what you want. And it's okay to say no to these people who do not match that standard.
This is true. I mean, I also have a very difficult time saying no. And I think it's because, I mean, I know what my standards are, but I'm very flexible with them. I think that's the problem. And so in Berlin, if you're going to be flexible with your standards, I mean, this is just not the city to do it. Like, it's just not. Like, it's just not. Because I've met men like just casually like on the streets, like in cafes, through friends.
Yeah.
And like and I've met them. And yeah, you know, they're like gainfully employed because that's important. You know, like I guess they're like, I don't know, I guess basically what I want, which is not even that much. It's like just be taller than me. Like not like which an is not like, you gotta be tall. You know, like you have to be open.
I mean, I'm a lot taller than you are too. So like my height
is like even. Yeah, I imagine like so I'm like a little person wanting like you know, giant. I want a 6 foot god.
Yeah,
like,
y'all be out here taking the 6 foot gods away from us tall women.
This is true.
We see you.
Oh, this is true.
We see you.
This is true. Damn. I mean, people like I feel like they're opposites.
They're opposites,
in some ways. But here, like I remember, I think once I was getting coffee or something with a friend. And this guy walks by us, and then he like, you know, turned around and like looked really cheeky or whatever, and I was like, no. And he keeps going, and then he goes into a shop, and then he comes out of the shop, and then he hands me a card, and it looks like one of the cards from like a deck of cards. It was like a King of Spades or something like that.
Okay.
And I was just like, and then he starts talking to me in German, and I was like, I don't do that. Like, I don't speak German.
Excuse me?
Right? I didn't even say excuse me in German. I was like, I don't do that. and then he gave me the card and it had his number on it and his name. And I remember I was just like, so this, I don't know. I was like, this is what people do here? Like, is this how they like pick up women? Like,
it's so funny though. Like, I feel it's so crazy how things kind of you know, differ as well, I think, for different women, different black women too. So like with me, I've never really had people approach me like that.
Really?
In terms of, oh, I would like to date you kind of thing. And maybe once it was just this random dude riding a bike and he turned his bike around, was like, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, to see a friend. And then that was it. But like, to get on a full on like hey, here's my number, call me, I want to date you kind of thing. It's never happened to me.
You know, I've heard that from other black women, but this is not the first time this has happened to me here. Like there's another time I was rushing and I was going to visit a friend. And it was like 10 p.m. or something like this. And it was a Friday night, I remember. And then I was sitting down, I made eye contact with the guy. He smiles at me. I smile back because I'm friendly. But that's really it. I was just like, oh, because people generally don't smile at
people here, girl.
So, so I was just like, oh, okay, he seems nice. Yeah, and I'm like, you know, speed walking, it's raining or it's like drizzling, and I'm just like, I gotta get out of the rain because I don't do that.
I don't do rain.
I don't.
And I don't do niggas handing me freaking kings of heart cards.
Game. The irony.
I don't play games.
The irony.
I don't do that. We're gonna need to get merchandise that says I don't do that.
I don't do that.
Yes, girl. Like, I already see it.
You see,
I don't do that.
I don't do it. Nope. And so then I'm like walking, and the guy who I made eye contact with, he ran up to me, and he also started speaking to me in German. And this is, I just think it's very interesting that people just assume I speak German. I mean, not rude though, because I am in Germany and they speak German here, but it's Berlin. It's a very international city. Quote unquote international. But, and then he was just like, oh, I just wanted to tell you, like, oh, I think you look really interesting. Like, I want to give you my number and maybe we can go out for like a drink or something tomorrow if you have time. And I was just like, oh, damn, okay. And I was just like, oh, okay. So in my experience, German guys have just been very like,
really?
Right, yeah, because he ran after me because I was speed walking. Because I was like, I gotta go. And then when I turned around, he was like out of breath, panting because I was on it. I was like going. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting that it seems to, I guess, be like this. I mean, I went on these dates, but I didn't feel anything. So then it just didn't go anywhere. It just didn't go anywhere. And the same thing happened to me also in a club. Like I was at a club, or no, a bar, because the first Friday they lifted the quarantine for the bars. I went out with a childhood friend and a guy, and I was just sitting there minding my own business, you know, like not looking for anything. Like I was right, like pretty much. I mean, that's the wrong thing, like pretty much. And I remember even that day before, I was really upset the same day earlier because with the situation. My situationship. You know, like being blocked, being told to leave them alone after I blocked them.
Oh my
Still
God.
having my
crazy
stuff, you know, like, so I was just so upset that day because I was like, how dare somebody who like called me a narcissist and then send me spam emails from other accounts after I blocked them, accusing me of all this stuff. They're fucking wild. And I was like, no. So I was so pissed off that day. Yeah. And I didn't even want to go out. But then she was leaving town and I was like, fuck it, okay, I have to. So I'm in the bar minding my business and there's this guy just staring at me. Like, just holes like through my
oh my God, like
face.
creeper stare,
creepy, fucking crazy. And I thought I would have a different response from men with braids versus no braids. So, but I had my braids in and stuff, and then we went outside, and then he comes up to us again. He starts speaking German, and I'm like, I don't do that. And then I don't. We're not doing it. Sorry. Yeah. And so then, you know, he's just like, oh, like, I think you're very interesting. Like, you know, I want to get your number. Let's go out. But he wasn't German. He was Italian. And I was just like, but y'all do this over there. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That's what y'all like harass. Not like it's like borderline harassment like in Italy. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I guess. So I feel like in my experience, a lot of men have been super like forthcoming. Like even when I met my situationship, like he came up to me when I was minding my own business. Like, I think I was even video Skyping my sister. On the street. And but they haven't led to anything though. Like serious. No, not really. And I feel like it's because they're not what I want. And I don't know what I want. And I don't feel anything. So it's a lot of different situations
that are going on. And the entanglements.
There's a whole bunch of entanglements out here in these streets. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, but I don't know if you had this experience, but I was talking to some other black girls a few days ago even, and they're like light skinned. I think they definitely have some white in them. Like it's somewhere, you can tell. And they were telling me like, oh, actually a lot of white German guys don't hit on me that much. And I was just like,
the black ones do, because the black guys want the light-skinned women. And then like white German guys want really, really dark-skinned black women. And it's just so like the in-betweeners like me, who is not light-skinned nor dark-skinned, we don't get shit out here. And I'm tall. You know what I mean? And I feel like because I played sports and like I have this kind of tomboy energy, and I'm also I got that tomboy energy, and also like I feel like I have that don't fuck with me attitude. So people don't genuinely, but you're tiny, and then you're like dainty, and when you're walking on the street, you walk with your bag, and you know what I mean? Like not in a bad way, but like they wouldn't look at you as being intimidating. But for me, because I'm taller and I give off a more, I guess, masculine vibe. It's more, it's more of kind of like and I realize as well, like, it takes a special kind of man to really be with me. And this is why I appreciate my partner so much, because like I'm an alpha female. Right? I know what I want out of life. I know whatever I want, I go get. Oh my God. You are though. You just gotta bring it out. We all are. We all are. We just need to find it. Like it took me some time to find that shit, but it's here. And he is just able to kind of navigate that in such a beautiful way. Where he's not intimidated by me, and he's able to kind of calm the beast.
That's good though.
Within me is what I say. He's able to, and he doesn't. he doesn't like feel emasculated because I'm more like I have this stronger vibe or stronger energy. He's very quiet and reserved, and I don't tell him what to do. I don't run his life. I'm not that kind of person, but I am passionate about things, and he never ever made me feel like, you know, my passion was something that was an issue for him. Whereas in previous relationships, it felt that way.
Really?
You know, where the men felt intimidated by me, and they would say things to kind of put me down because they realized that I had more potential.
You're kidding.
Yeah, exactly. I think
like what types of things? Because like, I've heard I have other female friends who also say men say things.
Yeah, they do. It's horrible. It's horrible. So like my daughter's father, for example, he would like when the relationship ended, and I think like throughout the whole relationship, he knew that I could do better than him.
Wow,
so like it was just really tumultuous. It does. It hurts their ego.
Men will never admit that.
Exactly. It really does.
Well, weak men won't.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And when the relationship ended, like he would just say the nastiest things to me, call me all types of whore and this and that.
Wow.
And then I yes, girl, trust me. I mean, I told him like I cursed back and whatever. To this day, like we cannot talk. Like I had to block him off of everything.
Wow.
Like he's not consistent in our, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But like he would just say the meanest things, and he even said to me at the end of the relationship, yeah, I didn't even want you anyhow because I like light-skinned girls with fat asses and curly hair and not like hair like your like nappy head like yours, like these kinds of things. So like these men, I feel like they feel so intimidated by our energy and like the fact that they know that we are, or we can do better than them, that we deserve better than them, that we deserve more than they can give. And the only way that they can see that they can maintain their ego and maintain their whatever the hell it is that they're trying to maintain is by putting the woman down. But as I said, like with my partner, like I've never felt like that, not once. In the 2.5 years that we've been together, not once, and I don't ever see him doing something like that to me or making me feel that way. I feel beautiful with him all the time. I feel loved and cherished. Of course, you know, relationships have their issues. We have our issues. Like it's not perfect. But this is one thing that I appreciate from him. And saying that, like what we wanted to touch on as well is like doing the bare minimum in relationships. Like exactly, like niggas be out here doing literally the bare minimum, expecting the woman to move heaven and earth for them, and I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
You know, I mean, okay, I feel like in a lot of the relationships, romantic and platonic, well, touching on romantic relationships first, I don't know, I feel like I have to redefine what bare minimum is in each of those relationships or entanglements. Because I feel like my expectations for a partner are just so high. And I think it's just because my expectations for myself are very high, and I project that onto you know, whoever it is that I'm with. Like, especially in terms of communication, like if I'm very communicative and I'm very, you know, honest and I'm like expressing things to you and like expressing empathy, like I expect that, if not more so, because men just notoriously never fucking are like vulnerable or, you know, like empathetic or like, you know, express the types of emotions that I want them to.
That was on my manifesting list.
Oh really?
Like someone that communicates and comprehends and understands. Like when we're talking to each other, we communicate in a kind calm way, no name calling, no battering, no angry, no raising voices. We communicate, hey, I'm angry about just this right now. Exactly. And I think that's maturity.
It's healthy.
And it's healthy, exactly.
And so I feel like I've come across situations. What's interesting about men here in Berlin is that once I am like actually not very communicative, whether it's like texting or in person, men will straight up say to me, listen, if you feel like I'm bothering you, let me know. And I have never experienced that anywhere else. Maybe it's because they're very like, it's a cultural thing, and German people are just very direct. Yeah. But men have straight up been like, listen, if I'm bothering you, let me know. Yeah. And I've never experienced that, not in France, not in China, not in Hong Kong, not in America, and it's crazy. And I'm just like, wow, like I really appreciate that. And then, but then on the flip side, with a lot of platonic relationships with females, not necessarily here, but I guess just in general, I have that same expectations for my female friends, like, because not all friendships are like perfect, happy all the time. Yeah. And even one of my best friends now, I remember, I think it was like 2018 maybe. Yeah, it had to have been early 2018. We got into like an argument, but it wasn't really an argument. We just stopped talking to each other, but we lived in the same city, and our lives always overlapped anyway. Yeah. But I remember that was really hard because we're also both Cancers and like super stubborn, and so it's like once I make up my mind, I'm like, I'm out. It's gonna take a lot for me to like
come back. Yes, it's the Cancerian trait for sure. Right? It's like once your mind is made. I've done that as well. In terms of getting rid of toxic friendships in my life, because it's not just about relationship. True. You know, we're talking about love and relationship, but relationships also include friendships, and that bare minimum and the reciprocity. I always have issues with that word. The reciprocity needs to go both ways in friendships as well, and I found that, like, for example, I'm a super loyal person. Yeah, same. I will be with you to the death of me. Yeah, same. But if you do some shit to stab me in the back, talk about me behind my back, or give me any type of like shady shit,
that's it.
Who is you again?
Right?
Who is you? Do you know me?
Yeah.
Do you know me? Yeah. I don't think so. Like literally, I had to do that, like with friendships here, and I think learning that as well, like learning to be able to cut these friendships off and relationships off for your mental well-being, for the just your overall health. True. is so important, because you can't expect the bare minimum, and the bare minimum that a friend could do is not talk about you behind your back.
I mean,
that's the bare minimum.
That's like the bare, because you also just don't expect a friend to.
Exactly.
That's the strange thing.
Exactly.
Right? Like, and so when that happens, I'm just like, I'm always just so confused, because it's like, but why is this even happening in the first place?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like, going back to that story, we're both very stubborn people, and because of that trait I have, where like, I don't know, I'll have to die, get into a coma, like forget. I'll have to meet you again. You know what I mean? Like that's how, you know, I feel like I should have the same standards for men. But anyway,
I definitely do.
Yeah,
with men.
I don't know why I'm more flexible. I'm more forgiving to men than women. For some reason.
I think because we hold women, because we kind of expect men to be garbage.
This is true.
Whereas with women, we don't expect them to be garbage.
I don't see it coming. Like,
yeah, exactly. And you kind of, with friendships, as you were saying, like you want that person to be able to say, hey, Bonnie, listen.
Exactly.
I felt like this in this situation, and I really would appreciate if we could talk about it. And then, you know, you get your feelings out on the table, and I don't understand why it's so hard for some people. I don't get it.
I mean, I also wonder why it's difficult. Yeah. But then I also think as women, I feel like this is something, honestly, that our mothers should have taught us in terms of like forgiveness and, you know, all these other things that I guess mothers sort of directly or sort of like passively teach their daughters. Like for some reason, at least in African culture and Liberian culture, this is just not
in Jamaican culture either. Like they're like, "Man, I'm no friend. Which friend me out? Man, I'm no friend." My whole life. And I had to literally make a decision in the last 3 years of my life that I cannot live like this. I need friends in my life. I need friendships. I need true, valuable friendships. And I found them. And you're one of them. Yay! And I found, like, when we met, we immediately hit it off. Like, this is why we're here now.
This is exactly how this happened. Yeah, talking about like friendships and like in like sisterhood and things like in Berlin. Berlin is a hard city.
It is.
I think so. I think it's a hard city.
You need friends. You need friendships to survive here.
This is true. Like to find community here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just difficult. It's difficult to date. It's difficult to find friends. It's difficult to establish community. It's difficult to network.
Yeah.
Like for some fucking reason in Berlin, like it's just a totally different thing. Like I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like five going on like 6 months here. Like still trying to figure out what it is, like where my place is.
Yeah.
In Berlin, in this raggedy ass city, but you know.
Raggedy.
I mean,
you hear us dissing up Berlin, like literally.
That was the first thing we
in every
but
episode.
I remember when I first met you, just like, how do you feel about Berlin? I remember the first thing I said was, it's dirty.
Yeah.
Berlin
and I was like,
dirty.
I know, right?
I was like, Berlin is dirty. That's how I feel.
Berlin is gonna hate us.
But anyway.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. I said what I said.
I said what I said.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway. Thank you for tuning in this episode of Navigating Love and Relationships here in Berlin.
Thank you for joining us on VIVA.
Yes.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you care. Leave your comments down below because we do want to hear your opinions. It's an open space here. It's all love here. We're Cancerians, the water sign, sending love, peace, and light.
Ciao.